What if someone told you that China is building a star right here on Earth and it might be finished before the year 2035? This is not a movie plot or a fantasy story. It is a real project and it costs $25 billion. The machine they are building is called an artificial sun. Its real name is the China Fusion Engineering Test Reactor. It is designed to do something no human has ever done before. It will create fire as hot as the center of a real star, hot enough to melt anything we put it in. But it will float in the air, held by invisible magnets, never touching the walls. If it works, this one machine could change the future of every person on the planet. It could give us clean energy forever, with no smoke, no pollution, and no end to the fuel. But how do you build a star? How do you hold something that is 10 times hotter than the sun? Today, we will explore the complete story of this amazing project from the very beginning to the day it might light up the world. The story starts with a problem that affects everyone, especially in the United States. For more than 100 years, we have burned coal and gas to make electricity. This works, but it fills the sky with smoke. That smoke changes the weather. It makes the planet warmer. Storms get bigger, summers get hotter. People started looking for another way. They looked up at the sky and saw the sun burning bright. The sun does not use coal. It does not make smoke. It just shines, day after day, for billions of years. Scientists figured out that the sun makes its energy by smashing tiny things together. These tiny things are called atoms. When two atoms crash into each other and stick, they let out a huge burst of power. This is called fusion. If we could do that here, we would have all the power we could ever want. And the fuel is everywhere. It is in water. 1 cup of water has as much hidden energy as a giant tank of oil. This is why China decided to spend $25 billion to capture a star. The idea did not start with China alone. For decades, scientists all over the world tried to make fusion work. The United States built machines. Europe built machines. Japan built machines. But fusion is very, very hard. You have to make the fuel hotter than anything in the universe. Then you have to hold it in place. If it touches anything, it cools down and stops. So scientists invented a special bottle. It is not a glass bottle, it is made of magnets. The machine is called a tokamak. Inside the tokamak, the fuel turns into a cloud called plasma. This plasma spins around in circles, held by the magnetic force. The magnets are so strong they can lift a whole train. In China, they built a small test machine called East. It was like a practice version. For years, East helped scientists learn how to control the plasma. In 2025, East did something amazing. It kept the plasma hot and spinning for more than 1,000 seconds. That is a world record. It proved that China was ready for the big one. But East was just the beginning. It was a learning tool. The real goal is CFETR. This new machine will be enormous. It will be the biggest and most powerful fusion reactor ever built. The Chinese government looked at the plan and said yes. They agreed to spend $25 billion because they know how important this is. If they succeed, they will have a way to make power forever. No more worrying about running out of fuel. No more digging in the ground for coal. No more depending on other countries for oil. This is why the project matters so much. It is not just about science. It is about who controls the future of energy. And right now, China is moving faster than anyone else. The construction is happening in a city called Hefei. This city is becoming the fusion capital of the world. Right now, workers are building a massive building to hold the machine. The machine itself is like a giant donut shape, but made of metal and magnets. The magnets have to be cooled down to almost the coldest temperature possible. That is colder than outer space. At the same time, the plasma inside will be hotter than the center of the sun. So inside the same machine, you have the hottest thing in the universe and the coldest thing in the universe living right next to each other. It is like building a snowman inside a volcano. The engineering is almost impossible. But the scientists in China believe they can do it. They have a plan, and they are sticking to it. They say the machine will be finished by 2035. That is only a few years away. So what exactly is inside this machine that makes it so special? How do you hold a star? The answer is magnets, but not the kind you put on your refrigerator. These magnets are made from a special material that conducts electricity with no resistance. That means they can make a magnetic field so strong that it can hold that super hot cloud without moving. The cloud of plasma weighs almost nothing, but it has so much energy that it would vaporize anything it touches. So the magnets have to be perfect. If one magnet fails, the plasma hits the wall and the machine is destroyed. That is why the engineers test everything 1,000 times before they turn it on. In January 2025, Chinese researchers finished a new machine called Qishao. This machine shoots a beam of plasma at different materials to see which ones can survive. It is like a fire hose of pure energy. They blast the materials for hours and hours. If something cracks or melts, they know it is not good enough. They are looking for the toughest stuff in the world. But there is another problem. The fuel for fusion is not easy to get. The machine uses two kinds of hydrogen. One is called deuterium. That one is easy. It comes from seawater. You can get it anywhere. The other kind is called tritium. That one is very rare. It almost does not exist in nature. So the reactor has to make its own fuel while it runs. Around the inside of the machine, there is a special blanket. When the fusion happens, it shoots out tiny particles called neutrons. These neutrons are like little bullets. They fly out and hit the blanket. The blanket is made of a metal called lithium. When the neutrons hit the lithium, it turns into tritium. So the machine feeds itself. It is like a cow that eats grass and makes milk, except this machine eats lithium and makes fuel. No one has ever done this before on a big scale. The engineers have to build a blanket that can take the neutron bullets over and over without breaking. It is one of the hardest parts of the whole project. Now, $25 billion is an enormous amount of money. That is more than many countries spend on everything in a whole year. Where does it all go? A huge chunk goes into the magnets. The magnets for CFETR are so big that each one weighs as much as a house. They have to be made in special factories and then moved to Hefei. The roads had to be made wider just to carry them. The buildings had to be made taller just to fit them inside. The magnets also need a giant cooling system. They use liquid helium to get cold enough. Liquid helium is very expensive and very hard to make. So the whole project is like building a city inside a machine. Thousands of workers are there every day, welding, wiring, and testing. They are building something that has never been built before. Every day they solve problems that no one has ever solved. This is what makes it a mega project. China is not doing this alone. They know that fusion is too big for one country, so they invited scientists from all over the world to come and help. In Hefei, you can find researchers from France, Germany, Italy, the United Kingdom, and even the United States. They all work together in the same rooms, looking at the same screens. They share what they learn. In fact, Chinese scientists signed a declaration with these countries to make sure the knowledge is shared. This is important because fusion could help everyone. If China keeps the technology a secret, then only China benefits. But if they share it, the whole world can have clean energy. So far, they are choosing to share. That is good news for everyone, especially for American scientists who are working on their own fusion projects back home. The United States also has many fusion companies. Right now, there are more than 25 private companies in America trying to build their own fusion machines. They have raised billions of dollars from investors. Some of them are using new kinds of magnets that are even stronger than the ones in China. These new magnets use a material called high-temperature superconductor. They do not have to be as cold. That makes the machines smaller and cheaper. In Shanghai, a Chinese company called Energy Singularity built a small machine using these new magnets in 2026. It ran for more than 1,000 seconds. That shows that the technology is getting better and faster. The race is on. China has the government behind them with $25 billion. America has private companies with new ideas. Whoever wins this race will shape the future of energy for the next 1,000 years. Now we have to ask the biggest question of all. What happens if they actually do it? Let us close our eyes and imagine the year 2035. The CFETR machine is finished. The last bolt is tightened. The last wire is connected. The scientists gather in the control room. There are screens everywhere. The room is quiet. Then they start the machine. The magnets power up with a hum. The gas inside starts to spin. The temperature rises. 1 million degrees, 10 million, 100 million. Then it passes 150 million degrees. That is 10 times hotter than the center of the sun. Inside that machine, atoms are crashing together. They are sticking. They are releasing energy. And for the first time in history, the machine is putting out more power than it takes in. It is making energy, real energy, clean energy. The kind of energy that can light up cities without making any smoke. If that happens, the world will never be the same again. Think about what that means for ordinary people. Right now, when you turn on a light, that electricity probably came from burning something, coal, gas, or oil. All of those things make pollution. All of them will run out someday. But fusion uses water. There is so much water on Earth that we could run fusion for millions of years and never run out. That means electricity could become almost free. Not cheap, almost free. Imagine never getting an electric bill again. Imagine factories running day and night without worrying about fuel costs. Imagine cars, trains, and ships all running on power from water. It sounds like a dream, but it is a dream that could come true if CFETR works. For the United States, this is both exciting and scary. It is exciting because American scientists can learn from China. They can use the same ideas to build their own machines. It is scary because if China gets there first, they will own the technology. They could sell it to other countries. They could decide who gets fusion and who does not. That would give them a lot of power in the world. This is why American companies are working so hard. They want to win the race too. The competition is good because it makes everyone move faster. In the end, it does not really matter who wins, as long as someone wins. Because if fusion works, everyone on Earth benefits. The air gets cleaner. The wars over oil might stop. The future gets brighter. But the scientists in China are not just thinking about Earth. Some of them are thinking about space. Dr. Song Yun Tao, one of the leaders of the project, talks about using fusion to go to the stars. Right now, rockets use chemical fuel. They burn stuff and push out the back. But chemical fuel is heavy. It takes a huge rocket just to lift a small capsule. Fusion fuel is different. It is incredibly light for the amount of energy it makes. A fusion rocket could go to Mars in a few weeks instead of a few months. It could go to Jupiter. It could even leave the solar system and head for other stars. Humans have always dreamed of visiting other worlds. Fusion could be the engine that takes us there. So this project in Hefei is not just about powering our homes. It is about powering our future as a spacefaring species. Right now, the work continues. Every day, more pieces arrive at the construction site. Every day, more welds are made, more wires are connected, more tests are run. The goal is 2035. That is not far away. In just a few years, we will know if it worked. If it does, historians will look back at this time as the moment everything changed. They will talk about the brave engineers who built a star. They will talk about the scientists who dared to dream. And they will talk about how, for the first time, humans captured the power of the sun and brought it down to Earth. That future is being built right now. It is being built in China, but it belongs to all of us. The artificial sun is coming, and when it arrives, it will light up the world.